Yes. Okay. All right. So this is actually the first animal we're going to talk about. This is the golden jellyfish. But I'm going to do a little intro blurb. So my name is Elisa. This is Alex. And we are the owners of Ethology Collective. Ethology Collective is a nonprofit. It does community-based education and outreach. So we teach classes, we do events. We're getting ready to start an AA group. We're getting ready to start a gender variant group. We're still a very new nonprofit. You know, we're what I like to call a baby nonprofit. At the end, I'll give you like our websites and stuff so you can check out other events and stuff that we do. But ethology, the word itself, is the study of animals and their social constructs in a biological perspective. But that also includes humans because we are also animals. And so that was really appealing to us as the name for our company, because the group of us that started it, it's just not the two of us, but the company, that the group of us that started it were part of an animal role play group called the Stampede. And so we're all human animals. So it was kind of a funny little thing that we really enjoyed. So we decided to go with Ethology. So Ethology 101, which is what you're here for today, is we learn about all different animals. So today we're going to be learning about the golden jellyfish and the moon jellyfish. And this can be for pet players who want to learn more about their animals, or it can just be because you like animals, and that's totally okay. We're also going to be including in the future, because like I said, humans are also animals. We're going to be doing some sexuality classes under the Ethology 101 title, including, I'm working on one now called The History of Any Bits. I don't want to say vagina because it is not okay for some people. And so we're calling them any bits. And the history of how people were taught to take care of them and the abuse that people with any bits had to suffer because of the way that they were perceived to be because they had any bits. So look out for that class. I don't want to give too much of it away. It's kind of crazy. I will say that Lysol was originally a douche. So that's where I'm going to leave that. It's a little scary. All right. So let's start with the golden jellyfish. So first of all, let's talk about, because both of the jellyfish that we're going to be talking about today live in a lake called Jellyfish Lake that is in the country of Palau. I did give you a map.
Yes, he did.
So he's going to pull up the map here. Palau is a really interesting island. It developed from all the volcanic eruptions and shifts, and it just naturally created this lake. As the pieces of land started coming together, they created an accidental lake. And those animals all got stuck there. So they weren't originally meant to be in this lake, but since it accidentally came up, all these animals were stuck there. So here in the image, you can see where Palau is in the world, and you can see where Jellyfish Lake is. It's a pretty huge lake. It's really beautiful. We also have some images of the lake itself. That's not it. Go back to it. Okay, so here's an image of the golden jellyfish floating in the lake. Alex is figuring out pictures. We always start off with the scientific name of the animal. So this is called the Mastigas Papua et Pisoni. Oh, I speak Spanish, but not Latin, so I probably butchered it. Oh, here is a picture of Jellyfish Lake. It's so beautiful. And people vacation there and go swimming there, and it's totally a thing. So the golden jellyfish is an invertebrate, which means it doesn't have a spine, which, you know, gold jellyfish are kind of goopy and weird and awesome, and, you know, you can kind of tell they don't have one. A group of golden jellyfish is called a smack.
It's actually all jellyfish.
All jellyfish? Oh, okay. All jellyfish groups are called smacks. So that's pretty cool, and I'm not sure how that name came about. They can grow up to 5.5 inches, about the size of a teacup. And they are 30 million of them in circulation in the world right now. And as I said, they live in the Jellyfish Lake in Palau. They do sting, but it's so mild, it's usually unnoticeable. And the reason for that is they've been in Jellyfish Lake for so long with so little predators that they've just evolved into having a sting that's not that powerful. So it's actually great. You can actually look up vacations in Palau where people are going swimming with these jellyfish, and it's so amazing. We have a couple pictures of people swimming with them, but it's so cool. I totally want to go now that we've discovered it. Jellyfish Lake is about 12,000 years old, and oh, you didn't download them? The fish in the lake bite the bells off of the golden jellyfish and feed them to anemones. So they actually have a symbiotic relationship because the tentacles keep growing. And so the fish pick it off and feed it to the anemone. And it kind of is like a cleaning, kind of shedding thing that jellyfish do, and so the fish are incredibly helpful with that. So do you guys remember El Nino? He was in the news like crazy in the 90s?
El Nino was,
yes, I know.
Yeah, it was the 90s.
Well, El Nino means the boy, so I said he. So El Nino actually killed a lot of the algae, and it raised the water temperature. And in December 1998, the golden jellyfish population didn't really survive because that was something that they needed to stay alive. The algae kept the water at a good temperature. So people thought they were going to go extinct. But by 2012, their population was back to normal. And they're fine now. No one's exactly sure how that happened, but, you know, it happened, and now they're back. There was also a decline in 1997 attributed to turbulence from scuba diving. So they actually outlawed scuba diving there. You can still go swimming with them, but not scuba diving. And I'm not sure why the scuba diving causes worse turbulence. Maybe it's the bubbles from the breathing thing.
It's like the kicking, and it's,
yeah.
You know, people wear the flippers.
The flippers. Yeah. So you can no longer scuba dive there, but you can still visit. And to visit, this is a great price. We just pulled this out because we thought it was interesting. It's $100 for 10 days. That's fantastic. Just you got to pay for the plane ticket, which is cheap now, but you really don't want to fly now. So, and so on the map, there's a place called Koror, and it's about a 45-minute boat ride from there to get to to Jellyfish Lake. So people board the boat there and then go to Jellyfish Lake. Because Jellyfish Lake isn't big enough for people to stay in. They can't put a hotel there. It's just the lake, and that's all it is. So because of confinement in the lake and the use of photosynthesis, golden jellyfish have almost completely lost all of their tentacles as well. So they have very few tentacles. They have the few in the center, those are not called tentacles. Those big bushy parts in the center that kind of look like cauliflower. The tentacles actually go around the outside. And so you can kind of see on this one jellyfish that is upside down here that it has really tiny, tiny little tentacles. They are not very big at all. Let me click on that one. So, all right. So that is the biology behind them. We're going to talk about their migration. Oh, you can't even see the tentacles on here. So that's how small the tentacles have become. They come out on the outer edge of the circle, and they're so tiny you can barely see them. But apparently they're still there. So even though they live in a lake, they have a migration. They do a daily migration, and they follow the sun. So, and I do have a picture of their migration pattern here that I grabbed. Before sunrise, they all cluster along the lake's western shore, and they go all the way to the east. But they start around 6 a.m. And they pump water through their bells, which is the big part in the middle. Oh, there's the image. They pump water through their bells, and that helps propel them to the other side of the lake. They're very reliant on the sun, so they follow it wherever it goes. And they go from the west almost all the way to the east, but they kind of shoot back over to the west before the sun goes down to make sure they're on the right side for when the sun comes up again. And on the eastern side, there's a bunch of trees that line it. So they actually would probably stop at the end of the lake if the trees weren't there because of the shade. They don't want to get stuck in the shade. They need the sun. Let's see. They don't just enjoy basking in the sun. They need the light to survive. They do a daily photosynthesis with the sun. And so without it, they don't survive. Golden jellyfish are content at midday when the sun is high overhead. Each afternoon when the sun moves west, they reverse course and return to the shore to visit the next day. So, oh, and another reason they like to stay away from the shady places is that that's where the predators are. So as long as they're under the sun, they're pretty safe. They're not totally safe. As they swim back and forth, they mix the water, which churns the nutrients and small organisms that form the base of the food chain in the jellyfish lake. They spend 14 hours a day moving with the sun. So as long as the sun is out, they're moving. And they always swim counterclockwise. I don't know. They like it. Let's see. Do we have anything else on migration? No. All right. So, food. Yes. Okay. The solar rays nourish essential algae, essential algae-like organisms called, oh, this is a hard word. We couldn't figure out how to pronounce it, so forgive me. Zooxanthellae. And they live symbiotically with the jellyfish inside their tissues and provide their host with energies as a byproduct of the photosynthesis. So that's why they need the sun. They need the sun to make the zooxanthellae give them energy. That's how they get their energy. It's like their protein bars. So, yeah. All right, let's talk reproduction. All right. They go through a process called strovulation, which is a type of metamorphosis. So they create tiny, what's called ephrae, and that's the babies that attach to their bigger oral arms, is what they're called, is the big bushy things in the middle. So they attach to those in the form of a polyp, and then the polyp breaks free and swims free in the water. It only produces one baby at a time, but it can produce hundreds over its lifetime. Yeah, that's a lot. At a later stage in life, they produce free-swimming larvae through sexual production that swim to the edge of the lake and attach to the bottom and transform into a polyp. Very interesting sexual patterns. They don't actually have sex the way that we think about it, the way like humans do, but the males spit out these strings of sperm, and the females ingest them, and then the babies start forming on their oral arms. And the polyps are actually able to reproduce themselves asexually, which is really interesting to think that not the parents, but the babies are the ones that are producing more babies. It's really bizarre. And the other jellyfish that we're going to talk about does the same thing. And I'm not sure if it's an all jellyfish thing, but it might be. We might learn about other jellyfish later. Who knows? So that is all I have on the golden jellyfish. Does anyone have any questions or anything they want to say? I think we have a couple other pictures to show, but feel free to speak live or to type it in the chat. Yes. Okay. Okay. I guess there's only one picture he hasn't shown. This is a really pretty picture. I love it. You can see them in the water. And we originally heard about this golden jellyfish watching a nature show. And they had images of just a camera floating over the water. And you could see all the golden jellyfish in there. And it was just gorgeous. But looking online, I couldn't find any pictures of that. So we just have these ones that show in the water, but you can kind of get an idea because they mostly prefer staying up by the top of the water. So you can kind of imagine what it would look like from above. Oh, hello, Corey. Welcome.
We're recording this, so...
Yes, we are recording this, so you have a choice to leave your camera on or off. and you can leave your microphone on or off. We're totally okay with comments while we're going. Otherwise, you are more than welcome to use the chat as well. All right, so we are going to move on to the moon jellyfish.
I'm gonna talk about the faces first.
Are you have to look for the live stream?
Yes.
Okay. So with the moon jellyfish, we're going to have this on in the background. Monterey Bay Aquarium actually has a live feed of their moon jellies. And so we thought that would be really cool to have on while we're talking about them. All right. So the moon jellyfish, the scientific name is Aurelia labiata. They are also invertebrates, just like the golden jellyfish, which means they don't have spines. They're 24 inches in diameter, and they're relatives of the egg yolk jellies. They are in the family of Ulmaridae, and they're named for their translucent moon-like bell. They also have 4 horseshoe glowing things called gonads. Those are actually their sexual organs. They are very plentiful, and plastic bags don't help because plastic bags are often mistaken for jellyfish by other animals. And so thousands of turtles and birds die every year from trying to eat the plastic bags. There's a lot of moon jellyfish. They're actually eaten in China, and part of that is because their population is so big that they are taking away all the plankton for other animals to eat. So ultimately, they're killing other animals. And so in China, as a way of trying to help regulate that, they've started eating them, which is cool. I mean, they look cool. They might taste cool. Who knows? They have 2 types of skin tissues, an outer exchange layer and an inner stomach skin. The frilly parts in the center are called the oral arms. We talked about that with the golden jellyfish. And the oral arms are projections of the stomach made of gastrodermis. So they can start digestion from a distance. So they actually pick up the food with a mucus, and it sucks up the food, and so they start digesting it before it gets into the center. Hi, Zorro. Bye, Zorro. They have a 6-month lifespan, and their tentacles are lined with nematocysts, which are the stinging cells. But just like the other ones, they are too mild for humans to be affected. Now, scientists aren't sure why, because these jellyfish are found in numerous parts of the world, not just in Jellyfish Lake. But the ones in Jellyfish Lake, it makes sense, just like the other the golden jellyfish, that they have lost it from lack of need. However, the other ones have lost it as well, and so scientists aren't really sure why. But moon jellyfish you can also swim with. They are really bad swimmers. They mainly use their short tentacles to stay near their water surface. All jellyfish are solitary, but scientists believe that they communicate by releasing chemicals into the water. And this crosses all species of jellyfish. All jellyfish can communicate with each other through what they believe is a chemical release. They are susceptible to disease and tissue damage from the exertion of reproduction and diminishing food. So they do tend to shrink in size, and part of that is especially when they're really exerted from reproduction and lack of food, they start eating themselves. And once the breeding time is over, they go back to normal and start eating other things, so they'll grow back. So they are auto cannibals. Moonfish are moon jellyfish are super cool. They can undergo this thing called life cycle reversal, and instead of getting older, they can grow to be younger. I feel like if more people knew that, they would be trying to like inject themselves with jellyfish, with moon jellyfish. Their main predators, and this is not a thing in Jellyfish Lake, but in the open ocean, their main predators are leatherback turtles and ocean sunfish. All right, now they range from the Northeast Pacific, and like I said, and they also live in Jellyfish Lake. They can survive lower salinity in estuaries and bays. Are you sharing this already? Okay. They are carnivorous. They eat zooplankton, protozoa, diatoms, eggs, crustaceans, mollusks, and worms. I don't know what two of those are, but I know what the other ones are. I don't know if y'all know what they are. They have very big words for things sometimes. Instead of long tentacles, they have short tentacles that sweep food towards the mucus layer on the edge of the bells. So that's what I was saying earlier. The bell part, yes, the bell part in the middle has the mucus on it, and so it sucks up the food. Honey, I can't have you sit with me right now. Their food gets trapped in the mucus, like I said, and passes via cilia, which are like these little tiny hairs. Humans have them as well. So the cilia helps push it up the oral cavity for digestion. Oral cavity, oral arms. These are very oral animals. I mean, really, like their tentacles, they're a stomach and a mouth. That's it. That's their entire body. Octopi and jellyfish are both very bizarre like that. Which is, I was reading that's why they're the inspiration for so many alien films, because it feels like they're so alien to our planet. That must be what they're like on other planets, what aliens are like on other planets. So, yeah. All right. So just like the golden jellyfish, the male releases the strands of sperm and the females ingest them. After fertilization, the female brood the larvae on their oral arms. So they do have larvae, kind of like a bug. They're a little gross looking too. I couldn't find any pictures of the larvae, unfortunately. But the larvae is released and they settle on the floor of either the sea or the jellyfish lake. And those polyps can create more polyps asexually. They also undergo metamorphosis at this stage, the strobilation that we talked about earlier, where they produce the ephral or the larval jellyfish, which release and grow into adults. And you had just pulled up a picture. This is what they look like when they are attached to the sea floor. They're kind of crazy looking. I was reading that some people think they look like little baby anemones, but they're pretty cool looking. Let's see. The gonads, like I said before, and we do have some pictures of them. There you go. So those little horseshoe-looking things right in the center of the jellyfish there, those are their sexual organs. They're supposed to have 4. However, they have found some genetic mutations with jellyfish that have either 3 or 5. It doesn't really affect, you know, some of their babies might come out with 3 or 5. Some of their babies come out with 4. There's no way to tell. It's a crapshoot. But that is a mutation that scientists are confused about. Oh, you want to put that up? Okay. So we're going to pop here. They do have a picture of the Ephra that I couldn't find online. And then you can see the whole life process there for them. Probably better than any pictures I could find online. Although I found this one online, but it's part of a aquarium. So the bells and the gonads can be translucent white, pink, blue, or purple, depending on their diet. So that's going to depend on where they are in the world and what they're eating. But they're, you know, if you go to an aquarium and you get to see them and they have the lights off and they're glowing and swimming, it is the most amazing thing. Kind of hard to believe that there's something on this planet. Again, aliens. It has 4 fringed oral arms that are longer than its tentacles. And you could see that on the photos. Oh, show that one. This is also a photo where you can get an idea of how big they are. They're little and they're cute.
You can see their arms.
Yes, you can totally see them. See their tentacles. Mating season starts at the end of summer and goes for several months. Several months, meaning a long time, because they don't go back to not being breeding and just kind of hanging out and being themselves until June. So that's a long mating season, which explains why there's so many of them. They're also, of course, in many parts of the world. So that's the thing. I found this really cool fact about moon jellyfish that I have to share with you guys. 2,500 moon jellyfish polyps and Ephra were sent in orbit on a spaceship called the Columbia in May 1991. I put here that they died for a study because they did. It was for a study that they were doing on the development of internal organs of juvenile jellyfish. And so they sent them up into space and they studied them and then they died. And it's kind of unfortunate. I mean,
animals
really,
die for science.
Animals die for science, but I feel like who cares what jellyfish do in space? They're not supposed to be in space. So I feel like that was kind of a wasteful death. But that's just my opinion.
I mean, you never know. I mean, maybe, they're planning for the future endeavor, considering their time is time.
Yeah. So that is everything we have on the moon jellyfish. Did anyone have any questions about the moon jellyfish?
You can also talk about the golden jellyfish.
Yeah. Anything about the moon jellyfish, the golden jellyfish? Questions, comments? I mean, they're definitely weird, which is why they're so fascinating. So, yeah. Mhm. All right. Well, I'm going to have Alex type into the chat our website. We are doing this, we are recording for Folsom Street Fair, which is going to air this weekend for Folsom Street Fair. And we are also doing an event called the Chase Not Chase. We've done this event. This would be our 15th year, but we are moving it to a digital platform for safety, right? We spelled it wrong. But so he's putting the website up for that now. It used to be a 4-day weekend event. This year it's going to be a 2-weekend event, 2 3-day weekends. The first weekend is going to be panels on inclusivity, including disability, race, age, and also what it's going to look like for kids in our future, like how parents are raising them and what they can do to make their children more inclusive and have a better world in the future. We're also going to be having the East Bay Pups group hosting a pet play mosh on that Saturday night on the 10th. That's October 9th through 11th. The following weekend, October 16th through 18th, we're going to have classes. We're doing a pony play class hosted by Mixtress Wilcox, who is a huge pony trainer in the BDSM community and has worked all over the world doing pony training. We're going to have a cooking class. We're going to have another Ethology 101, and we're going to be doing bonobo monkeys, which are the world's swingers. And we're going to be doing whale sharks, which are the world's cum sluts. You totally have to check that out. And then we're going to be doing virtual play parties. I'm going to be hosting what I call the Hitachi Symphony, where I'm going to have everyone using the Hitachi at the same time, and it's going to be epic. And we're also working with a group of dungeon monitors to bring you a Dungeons and Dragons game that is going to be out of this world. We've hired somebody to draw out the map. We've hired somebody to write out a whole history of the place we're going to be playing. There's going to be options to play as different animal-y type characters. So Saturday, that's Saturday the 17th, we're going to have vanilla D&D game. And then Sunday, we're going to do a kinky D&D game. So that'll be really cool.
There's 2 levels to it.
Yes, we're going to do beginners and a more advanced. So we're going to have 2 games on the Saturday and 2 games on the Sunday. Apart from that, we're going to do some DS classes and nutrition class on nutrition for a better life. And the person that teaches it has done, his work is all in nutrition, but he's done a lot of work specifically with hormone balances and nutrition, especially for trans folks, but it's good for anybody. And then we're going to have a tea social and a bunch of other stuff. So it's a super packed weekend. The tickets start at $25, but we also have No One Turned Away for Lack of Funds tickets that are free. And on the other side of that, we have angel tickets where people pay extra to cover people who can't pay. So check it out. Our Ethology Collective site has all the other events that we're doing right now. We're planning a Halloween event for littles, and a few other things are in the works as well. Thank you so much for joining us today. That's it for Ethology 101.